Welcome to the Kingdom at Home podcast. Practical mentorship for families who refuse to fail. Here are your guides, Michael and Sarah. Let's build together.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a deep and, I think, a necessary look at a subject that is absolutely foundational to a marriage, yet it's so often just shrouded in silence.
Especially within the faith community. And our sources today, they really cut through that silence. They give us a robust theological framework, but also some highly practical, very candid advice.
Yeah, and our mission here is to really unpack this idea that intimacy isn't, it's not a luxury or an option. It's a sacred design.
With profound, tangible, spiritual consequences.
Exactly. We have material that clarifies why ignoring this can impact everything, from your finances to your physical health.
Yep.
Okay, let's unpack this. Where do we start?
We have to start with the mandate itself. If we look at 1 Corinthians 7, verses 3 to 5, intimacy isn't framed as a suggestion. It's an imperative.
It's a sacred duty. That's the language it uses, right?
That's the language. It's an obligation that both spouses owe each other as part of the covenant. And the theology behind it is, well, it's radical.
The idea of mutual surrender. I find that so powerful. The idea that your body isn't solely your own anymore.
That's exactly it. You've mutually surrendered that authority, and the only exception given is for prayer.
But even that has conditions. It has to be by mutual consent for a brief time, and then you have to come back together immediately.
Right. It's not meant to create distance. But the reason God is so emphatic about this, that's the key.
So why the intensity? Why is refusal such a big deal?
It's all about spiritual protection, plain and simple. The sources are so clear that refusal literally opens a spiritual door. It exposes the spouse to temptation.
Because of, what the term, incontinence?
Yes, a lack of self-restraint.
Yeah.
And when that marital duty is neglected, that divine protection is withdrawn. And that clears the way for the adversary's work.
And we saw just devastating real-world proof of this in that story of Samuel and Rebecca, the wife. She used these spiritual-sounding excuses to refuse her husband for 4 years.
4 years. And the consequences that were documented weren't just, a tense home life. They were catastrophic.
Hold on, let's stop there. You're saying it wasn't just marital strife, but actual financial blockage.
Exactly. Samuel suddenly had guaranteed business contracts just canceled, vanished. At the same time, Rebecca developed this chronic, medically unexplained pelvic pain.
And it got worse when she rejected him. Right?
It intensified. And on top of all that, their kids' grades just plummeted, and they started acting out with this unexplained rebellion.
That's a profound spiritual dynamic, not just a relationship issue.
It is. And these aren't arbitrary punishments. It's the natural result of violating a spiritual law. It's like gravity. You can choose to ignore it, but you can't ignore the fall.
So the consequences are things like loss of that divine protection.
Blocked material blessings, the windows of heaven literally closing, and even physical ailments, often right in the area where the disobedience is happening.
Okay, so this is where it gets really, really interesting and practical for people listening. We have to distinguish between love and desire.
Yes. This is a massive point.
Yeah.
They're two separate things, and you have to feed both of them continuously.
So a man can deeply love his wife. She's his partner for life, but his sexual desire, it might just not rise.
It might not. Because of hormones, stress, emotional factors, desire needs its own specific food.
And for women, it can be the reverse. A woman might feel so loved, through gifts or compliments or that gentle touch, that caffeine they mentioned.
That affectionate head massage.
Yeah, but that feeling of being loved doesn't automatically translate into wanting sex.
Right. The goal is to nourish both so they align and start feeding each other. And our words, our language is foundational to that.
Okay, how so?
Well, for a woman to really achieve, sexual abandonment and pleasure, she has to feel fundamentally secure, loved, valued.
And for men, it's different. It's about his core identity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Negative words, criticizing his finances, his body, his performance, especially in public. Or when the wife sort of becomes the macho of the house.
It wounds his masculinity.
Deeply. And that often shows up as sexual dysfunction that has no physical cause. It's all psychological.
Right.
Our words have incredible power.
There's that metaphor they use, the rice experiment.
That words of hatred versus words of love literally affect perishable things, like a jar of rice.
So if words can do that to rice, what are they doing to our marriages?
That's the question. And it's a warning, because even our internal thoughts, I hate him, he's disgusting, That creates a powerful sexual blockage inside of us.
Which might explain why we're seeing these high rates of pornography and masturbation, even among married women.
It's a refusal of the mind. We have to intentionally replace that negative self-talk. We have to use our words to protect our spouse, not expose their weakness.
Silent appreciation just doesn't cut it.
No, gratitude has to be spoken.
Okay, so let's get into the physical side. The crisis of connection. I mean, we spend so much time with our hands on our phones.
And not on each other. An extraordinary sex life has to start by returning to skin-to-skin touch that is intentionally non-sexual.
The science proves this, right? With newborns and serotonin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have to get back to the simple things. Hand-holding. Applying lotion for your partner. That
Ooh.
gentle caffeine. So let me just ask you, listening to this, when was the last time you were skin-to-skin, no clothes, and you were not having sex? Just cuddling. It's a challenging question. Because being physically close in the same room is not the same thing as being together.
We have to reclaim that initial eroticism, the hugs and kisses from when we were dating.
Yes, the amazos, beijos y abrazos. But the key is that affection has to come before excitation. You can't just jump straight to the main event.
Don't just stick your hand in there, as the source material bluntly puts it.
Exactly. And there's a great practical tip for this. The deep kiss, the beijo de lengua.
The nightly rule, I love this. When you brush your teeth before bed, you have to exchange at least one deep French kiss. It's simple, but it rebuilds connection.
It does. And from there, we need to understand the anatomy of pleasure. So many couples are just ignorant about this. We neglect key erogenous zones.
Wait, the ears?
The lobes, not inside. The neck, the back, inner thighs, and the nipples. And yes, for men too. Stimulating them gently helps the whole system activate.
But the biggest revelation here is about the clitoris. The fact that what we see is just the tip of the iceberg.
It's a much larger internal system, very similar to the male organ. And here's the number that proves why foreplay is non-negotiable.
Get this.
The clitoris needs 350 to 500 milliliters of blood flow for a woman to reach orgasm. A man only needs 80 to 100 for an erection.
Wow. So her system requires significantly more sustained, dedicated activation.
What does that mean in simple terms?
You have to press the doorbell repeatedly before you even think about entering the house. It's not optional. Which brings us to our last point.
Yeah.
Maintaining desire. Admiration is the fuel for desire, and that wow feeling you had at the beginning, it won't last if you don't feed it. This means you have to invest in your personal image, your health, your teeth, your skin, your body. And this isn't about some impossible beauty standard.
No, it's about being healthy enough to perform and maintaining the attraction that brought you together in the first place.
There's that potent warning story about the pastor who fell into adultery. It wasn't that the other woman was a supermodel.
No, it was that his wife had just stopped. Baggy clothes, no hygiene, no effort. The wow was being found somewhere else. It's a mutual responsibility to protect the marriage.
So how do we do it strategically? The sources give 3 powerful maintenance ideas. First, the sex bill.
The sex bill. It sounds a bit clinical, but it's brilliant. It's a dedicated monthly investment of both time and money, say $1,000.
And the rule is you plan a dedicated non-routine sexual event. He plans 1 month, she plans the next, and it has to be outside the normal bed.
It's treating the relationship like the primary vital investment that it is.
Second, create a private communication channel. A WhatsApp group just for the 2 of you, only for love, desire, and sex. No grocery lists allowed.
And third, at least 1 maintenance event per year. A retreat, a conference, something to intentionally learn and prioritize the marriage.
At the end of the day, you can't be a great leader or a great pastor if you're a terrible spouse who isn't admired at home. And that connects back to the final thought from the sources. Sex is highly relevant. If it's good, its relevance is maybe 42 to 46%. But if it's bad or missing, its relevance jumps to 98%.
Enough to tear a marriage apart. And the solution rests on mutual, continuous responsibility.
If you're enjoying the insights we're sharing today, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. So stop transferring the blame. A healthy, intimate life depends on you taking responsibility for your touch, your words, your image, and your commitment. We declare that nothing will be broken or lacking in your intimate life from this day forward, provided you commit to action.
We've reached the end of this conversation. If this content brought you value, your first mission is like and share it. Be a channel of blessing for other families who urgently need this instruction. Follow our channel so you don't miss our next conversation. May God bless your home. See you then.